This episode of Angles is brought to you by Richmond Bona Personal Injury Attorneys. Expect high-level communication, transparency, and cutting-edge technology to keep your case moving. Expect a legal team that's laser-focused and moves fast to get the results you deserve. When the unexpected happens, expect Richmond Bona. Learn more at richmondbona.com, 192 Seneca Street, Buffalo, New York. Welcome to Angles, the podcast where we dig into the stories behind impactful people and explore the sharp turns, daily decisions, and defining moments that shape how they got to where they are and how they keep moving forward. I'm John Richmond, and every week I sit down with guests who are building bold, meaningful lives and careers in Buffalo and beyond. If you enjoy these conversations, please hit follow, subscribe, drop a comment, or share the episode. It's a simple way to help us grow with the community and keep these stories coming. Today on Angles, we sit down with a Buffalo powerhouse in fitness and entrepreneurship, Amy Bueme of Catalyst Fitness. Amy and her husband Joe built their gyms from the ground up, starting with one small space and growing into the leading fitness brand in Western New York. In this conversation, Amy shares the highs and lows of that journey, from competing with national chains to rebranding as Catalyst, all while staying true to their Buffalo roots. You'll hear how grit, family, and a relentless drive to keep pushing forward have shaped both her business and her life. Let's get into it. All right, Amy, what's going on? Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. I know I'm such a better talker, so when someone's like podcast, I'm like perfect because I hate emailing, all that nonsense. I'm such old school. Whenever I have to talk to any staff or someone wants to see me, I'm like, come in my office and meet me, let's talk. And they're like, I'm like, yeah, I
Yeah,
can't like do the email thing. So I love
well,
to be able to see.
it's funny. I'm the same way. It's like, yeah, I think about it where I'm like, okay, like a real quick response, like, yeah, I can fire off a quick email. To have the context to really deliver the message the way you want to. And then, even sometimes it's just faster to say, hey, can you just come in here and we can talk about this in 2 seconds? So I don't have to think about how I'm wording this when I email you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So anyways, we were talking a little bit before we started. Appreciate you being here. Excited to kind of jump in a little bit and hear about your journey. Sometimes I'm like driving around town and, you guys do such a great job of branding and marketing. And, it's like there's so much more, I'm sure, behind, obviously the story behind the billboards and TV commercials and radio and all that kind of stuff. I was kind of interested and I wanted to just kind of start it off with like, where does your story begin? Like, how did you get into fitness and how did you kind of start off, when you were, going back years and years ago?
So, all right. Well, it really starts with my husband. Was a huge tennis player in the early, probably late 60s, uh, kind of even getting into the 70s. Wanted to go to the University of Miami. Wasn't sure what he was going to do, but when he was playing tennis and, back then it was, hey, maybe I'll be a doctor. Wasn't quite sure, but he went there, and when he got there, he started seeing little like pop-ups, these like little small workout rooms, and he went to this Coral Gables health spa, and it was simple, little carpet, little whirlpool, hot tub, so funny, and like a little set of like weights and some Nautilus stuff, and started working out like crazy. Stopped playing tennis, wasn't that interested in school anymore, and just like went all in on working out. And just like from eating good, seeing what eating good and working out can do for you, like in that now we're talking probably 76, 77. He loved it. He loved everything about it. And said to his mom and dad, listen, I want to come back to Buffalo. I want to get a space and I want to try to see if this would work. I don't know what it's going to do, but let's just see. So he came back, rented a very small little space out on Center Road in West Seneca called 2001 Health Odyssey. And it was, simple stuff, weights, real basic. I mean, so funny that when it was leg day, he took the phone off the hook so no one could call and interrupt leg day. I'm like, That would never happen today. I'm interrupted left and right for leg day. But I mean, it's just so funny. Um, so he got to that point. It really started to take off. More and more people really were working out. Definitely more men than women. There was probably 20 men in the gym. There was one woman. So that was like that's where it was. In 84, Joe Gold and Arnold Schwarzenegger came together and started Gold's Gym, right? I mean, all of a
Yep.
sudden, everyone
Yep.
knew about Arnold Schwarzenegger, all of that, big rage of how to lift. And it like really started to evolve and bring more attention. So in 89, bought another building on Seneca Street. So if you're on the thruway, you can see the original OG of Gold's Gym. So it was in 89, opened up Gold's Gym on Seneca Street. Um, Again, a little bit more. We now had some cardio, some weights, some circuits, just real simple and, lots of product, lots of vitamins, powders, crazy wear was the big thing back then. And it was huge. And when we go around Buffalo now and I will see people that say, "Oh my gosh, I worked out at 2001 or I worked out at Gold's Gym when Joe first opened and you guys first started dating." I mean, it's just like that's one good thing about Buffalo is, no matter where I'm at, I'll run into someone and find out where they're at in their fitness journey. Whether, if it's still going strong, if they're going a little bit, I'll kind of see, and that's a lifestyle, right? That's everyone's fitness journey is it kind of has this different peaks and valleys. And so it's very interesting to still, be able to see people and talk about it. But, so we had Gold's Gym and, that opened up on Seneca Street. And, I met Joe at Seneca Street and we got together and Worley. So, we then the second Gold's Gym, 770 Worley Drive opened. And that was a little bit bigger. For us back then, I mean, huge investment because now Worley probably opened in 92.
Okay.
Valentine's Day in 92. And I mean, it's a big gap because again, um, what we do is we are by ourselves. We have no investors. We go off of our own money and then obviously doing loans and going to the bank and stuff. So it was a big deal for us. And we also buy the buildings. So we're into one part of our business is the real estate, and then
Yep.
the other part is the gyms. And, Joe had always said, listen, no matter what, we got to have the real estate so we can pay ourselves the rent. We can be able to knock walls down. We can change with what's going on in the industry, but we've got to be able to, no matter what, even if the gym doesn't work out, we have real estate and it's worth something. So,
Smart.
I mean, still at this point, this business was a wild, we really didn't know. We knew we loved it and we were doing well, but still going back to Health Odyssey, 20 men to 1 woman, now going to West Seneca, 20 men to maybe 3 women. Okay. Now we're in 92, getting up more momentum. Now, if I were to say you had 20 men, you'd maybe have 4 women or 5 women, right? So it's creeping, but not that much. Some of the bodybuilding helped bring some of the women, some of the sports helped bring some of the women, but it was still not like women didn't really like, oh my gosh, working out and putting muscle on. It was like, I don't want to look like a man. So it was just this, weird thing. But we kept creeping up. So now we're into the 90s and we get married, we have a baby. And Joe is at this point I'm more back end a little bit, just helping. We're going to look at equipment, what can we afford? What can we bring to Buffalo? How can we play this safe? We're married, we're moving forward with this. Yes, we have real estate, but now kids are involved, what do we do? So playing it safe, meeting people in the industry, we're still Gold's Gym, going to the Gold's Gym conventions, just trying to, see what is happening outside of Buffalo, but what we can do
Right.
inside. Meantime, had another baby. We then get an opportunity to French Road comes this whole plaza. Now a whole plaza comes available in early, probably 1999, 2000. And we say, wow, I think we want to get this plaza. We've never done anything this big. We could put the gym in there, it could be the main tenant. Well, we're bidding against Benderson. Where do we go from?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
do we do? You
yeah.
know? So we're like, oh boy. Okay. So we start calling this guy. He's a local guy. And we're like, hey, you're a local guy. We're local. I start talking to him about his family. I start cooking pots of pasta for him, Sunday sauce. Joe's talking business with him. I'm like, okay, we're gonna get this guy. We're gonna go old school. I'm a Polak. My husband's an Italian. This is the way this is gonna go down. We're gonna kick Benderson's ass. Like, even if we don't have the money, we're gonna do it. So we actually did it. Benderson outbid us. But because this guy really loved, us and we built a great relationship, he gave us the plaza for what we could afford. So, I mean, this was huge for us. So again, okay, let's go back to the banks. Let's, tighten up. So we got, the mortgage, for the plaza. We did the build out. And now, for the first time, in the industry and meeting people, we've met Rudy Fabiano. He's an architect that did other gyms, like in Ohio, California. And we're like, okay, this is going to be big for us. Can we afford to bring this guy in and help us do this? Because, West Seneca we did on our own, Worley we did on our own, but we got this is a big club. We gotta do this right. So we brought him in to, help us with, the flow of the gym. So as we're as a team effort, really, working together and doing this. And meanwhile, because we are the GC, so we are GCing this, we're creating our own relationships, we're getting our own subs. We are demoing, we're ripping down, because it used to be a builder square. So we're ripping it down to the studs to save money on the demo. We're, how can we, create a relationship or do trades? We're going Buffalo, we're going old
Yeah.
school of what works. So just anything and everything we did, to cut costs, but to do it right, and really created a great plan for French Road. I mean, with Rudy's help, with what we did with creating, different relationships around Buffalo, it was like a big thing. We had the trailer out front, pre-sale. I mean, it was really a big deal for us. So now we get this going. I just have a baby. We're cleaning up. We're like, we got to open in a week. We got to do this. So, I'm in the middle of got the baby. I'm cleaning. I'm trying to, figure this out. I said to Joe, okay, you take care of her. I'm opening this club. We're going to do it, alphabetically. So I open the club up. I'm, doing my thing. We're behind the counter, just completely, working, just from top to front to back to you name it, we did it, right? And again, that's, a family owned business, and, not too good to, if a toilet got plugged, cleaning the toilet, if my cleaner called in, had to clean, whatever it was, we had to do because, this is a family business. And we've gotta, figure this out because now now we're on our coming up to our third kid that we had. And, now we have three clubs and, how does this look for us? So had to digest it again. All the money's coming out of our pocket. Let's sit here, let's digest this and, figure out, what this is going to look like for us. So probably from 2000 to 2000, and I might say five, we had the three clubs. And then Gold's Gym started to do these little express clubs. And we're like, what could this look like for us? Could we, because we were doing big clubs with daycare and group X and fitness. What would this look like? Could this just be fitness and something simple? And could it feed each other? So at French Road, we had the big club. Well, a small, like a super duper that went to be a Tops went out of business in Depew. So this was about 2.5 miles down the street. And I used to shop there when I was in high school. So I knew the area. And again, we were able to get a really good deal. We knew the owner, bought that small plaza and put a Catalyst Express in. So, but at this point, I now just jumped because we were Golds, but this was a turning point. By the time we got that plaza, was Gold's Gym had shifted and sold, not once, not twice, but 3 times. So it was changing, right? So the way that it wasn't that cool anymore. The conventions changed. The brand was getting very, very hardcore, a little bit more. It was more of if you were in LA, it worked for you. Omni Hotels bought it, and it was just for us being in Buffalo, it was changing. So they wanted to change up our franchise agreements, and right in the middle of us trying to buy this plaza, I said to my husband, we need to change who we are. We are now local owners. Buffalo loves local owners. We need to be local. And of course, this was now we got a husband and a wife working together. Now you got a battle at home because like every single thing I've done and known since 79, okay, you want me to just throw that money out the door and rebrand. I'm like, exactly. That's exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, right. So I said, we're going to get a local advertising company. So we went with Todd Martin, and we're going to tweak everything. We're going to change our name, our colors, our slogan, who we are, what we are, everything. And so we're in the middle of this. Gold's Gym, like I said, started to do this Gold's Express. We were trying to buy this plaza in Depew. We wanted to make it a Gold's Express, but I said, let's try to just buy that plaza. We'll hold off because if we can change our name, this might be a different name, right? So there was all these moving parts, now between in these middle of 2000. And so we finally figure out we're not going to sign that agreement. So we drop Gold's Gym. Now we're trying to figure out between who we are, what we stand for, all these different names, what are we going to be? So Catalyst Fitness was in the top 5. And we liked Catalyst because of the meaning of it, of coming together, a nucleus, explosion, like just there's so many great words that meant catalyst. And we kept walking around the house. Oh, I'm going to go catch a workout at Catalyst. I'm going to go catch a workout at Vibe. Or we had all these names. And he's like, "Ah, I can't do that. I can't say that word. I can't say that word. I can't do that." I mean, it was like insane. We were just like cuckoo. So, um, so all of this is happening. I have three girls, and I wanted a boy, and my husband says, "I'm older than you. I'm good. I'm healthy." I'm like, "I want a boy." He's like, "You're out of your fucking mind. We're changing our name. You were trying to buy a plaza, stressed out, and now you're like choke holding me to like we're this is gonna happen." Like it's not a sporting event here. This is like we're talking about like trying to have a baby. So yeah, so like I just like I don't know how to do anything but like keep piling shit on. So I'm like,
Yeah.
now we need to try to get pregnant and have another baby because I'm just like time was just ticking, because at this point we're doing all this, and I have I think a 9-year old, a 7-year old, and a 5-year old. And I'm like, oh my God, the girls are getting older, and I may need like one or two more kids here. And my husband's just like, you're killing me. We have a 19-year difference between us. So, but if you look at us, you look at him, he is just so freaking hot and fantastic. And it's so funny. Everyone's like, "How old are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, when he sleeps at night, I like stretch him and put cream on him. And I'm like, I age him like a fine red wine. You'd never know." So, um, I'm like, "You're totally fine. You're a freaking rock star. You're gonna be fine." And I do all this stuff anyway. You're good. So we're trying to change our name, trying to get pregnant, trying to buy this plaza, trying to do all this stuff. So um, I end up getting pregnant. I end up having a boy in 2008. Okay. Um, we that happens. We buy the plaza, we get the plaza. Um, so we got to kind of chill on that for a second to recoup because you got the loan out at Worley, that we're paying down. We got the loans out for French Road, we're paying those down, but now we're adding this, other loan. And you're trying to, we're doing this without trying to personally guarantee and choke ourselves out,
Yeah, yeah.
of everything. And also too is living, we had a good life, but it was everything that we had was always going back into the business. So it wasn't we just it was we all ate, we had a beautiful house, everything, but there was no like, "Oh, hey, we're doing great." It was just, you know take it, invest, take it, invest, take it, invest, pay down your bills, pay down your bills. That was where our mode was, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand that. Like to grow really fast, it's like you're doing exactly that. Like that's what we're doing at our firm. It's like you're just like dumping it back in, dumping it back in, dumping it back in. And like, yeah, you're living a good life, but it also can be tough, right? Because in the back of your head, like your big, massive investment is your business. But
Yes.
you're not seeing anything really from it in the beginning. I mean, you are, but you're not. Like, I get exactly what you're saying. We'll be right back after a word from our partners.
After an accident, life can be scary, stressful, tricky. You need Richmond Bona to help navigate the process because getting a life-changing settlement can not only take time, it can take an emotional toll. The team at Richmond Bona provides high levels of support through all the ins and outs, so you get the settlement you need and the new beginning you deserve.
When the unexpected happens.
Expect Richmond Bona.
Now back to the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, there was no like crazy vacations. There was no like, hey, yeah, it was just our joy was, you know, just buckling down, doing what we had to do. We maybe do dinner date night on a Saturday, but we were home and like at headquarters doing what we had to do, raising the kids, and just kept investing. So it was a very slow going, but it worked for us, right? Slow going, but it worked. So we get the plaza. Um, we do the name change. We finally figure out that we're going to now be Catalyst Fitness, right? So now we got to take more money and rip down all the Gold's Gym signs, put up Catalyst Fitness signs, rebrand the inside of the clubs, right? You're doing all of that. And then I'm bounced up to 2012, right? It's like years just kept ticking. It was just like they were just moving. And then we finally did the Catalyst Express. We actually then got the money to be able to do that, and put that up. So now here we sit, 2012. We have the 3 clubs, and now we have 1 Catalyst Express. Doing well, but now the industry is shifting. Planet Fitness was all on our page, and then they were going to possibly go out of business. And before they went out of business, they said, you know what, we're just going to go $9.99 and sell a shit ton of memberships, and we'll see what happens, whatever. Well, it worked.
Yeah, the Hail Mary.
Thousands and thousands of people came in, and they're like, hey, oh my God, we're on to something. So for some circuits, for cardio, a simple workout, do the lunk alarm, keep it simple for the beginner, $9.99. Well, we were at, $42 a month for a membership, $35, $29 for the low end. And now you have Planet right down the streets from your clubs, $9.99. And they have
that must have been stressful. Like that just comes out of nowhere.
Oh my gosh. So you're like, and again, now you have a husband and wife. And my husband's like, our EFT is dropping. Okay. We have to do something. And not me, pig-headed. Screw you. I'm better. I have this and we have this and blah, blah, blah. And my pig-headedness, again, we just kept dropping. And then I was like, oh my God, okay, we really do have to do something. Like the industry is now, they have more marketing money. They're telling our people that to work out in a gym, this is what it should cost. Whether they're huge, we're local, doesn't matter, loyalty, not. If someone needs to save money, they're going to go. They're going to get that product.
Yeah, people want to be loyal to the local business owners, but at the end of the day, if they can't afford it, it's like, hey, I got to make a financial decision. That usually wins out. You're right.
Correct. So we got beat up. We got slapped around pretty good. So it was, okay, we need to shift. So we had to drop our prices. So we got right in the ring. We very reluctantly went $9.99, 14, 19, completely nosedived our prices and had to sit there. So then it was, okay, let's try to get the volume. We need to get the volume. We need to get the EFT up. And we also need to try to figure out who we are, right? We have to be different. We have to give them a different product than what they're doing. So, but that was tough because you're trying to get into survival mode. We had a ton of bills to pay, and now you're getting less money. So you're trying to do what we had to do. So we hung in there. We crept up. We then started really hammering personal training, which we'd never done before. So we're like, okay, this will help us bring in some monthly money if we can really get some great personal trainers, and this will help us, and then we can have some more money to invest, right?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
it was a while that we, couldn't really invest. So we start hammering it with the personal training, and that went really, really well. And so then we were able to get back out there. We never stopped. We always had, we always knew what was going on outside of the industry. We were belonged with roundtables. Joe and I would get in the car. We'd go to Canada. We'd go 6 hours one way, the other way, drive and see what people were doing. What kind of equipment did they have? What could we bring back? How could we get Buffalo, still, excited, but wanting to come to us besides, a Crunch, a World's Gym, a Planet, right? Now at this time, those were our competitors, and also BAC. BAC
Yeah, I was
was a
gonna say.
local competitor for so many years, and BAC, they were big. They were bigger than us, and they were local owners, and they ran a great business. They had some great owners. They knew how to do sales. They knew how to, have a great working force. Like they really kept us on our toes. Um,
Yeah. And how do you like, I mean, because this is an actually amazing story because you guys just keep pushing through. You're going everywhere and everywhere to be like, hey, we got to be different. And especially you hear these stories all the time where people just, they're in like these crowded marketplaces and they're just kind of doing everything the way everybody else is. And it's really hard to stand out. So how ultimately did you figure out how to differentiate and like kind of catapult yourself to like being above everybody else? And honestly, have a lot of people kind of, it is what it is, like, kind of go by the wayside.
yes. So, you can't, it's again funny, husband and wife. So I am a little more adventurous. I'm wanting to try stuff. And my husband is, we need to be safe. I this works. This works. Let's not ruffle, the feathers too much. So I would keep, jabbing him and pushing him to wanting to try. And we would do little things to, bring some turf in, bring some functional training in. This is what we're seeing outside. Bring Les Mills in. No one has this right now. These are really high-end classes. And we're like, okay, it's an investment, but if it doesn't work, it's not going to kill us. But we got to do it. So we would see what we could bring in, and and it's interesting because you see these certain things, but Buffalo is an interesting market. You really have to stay in your lane, okay, with Buffalo. But if if you over deliver and underprice, but you give them what they want, they're gonna come, right? They're gonna come. Um, and they Buffalo does like nice things, but like in that middle moderation, right? So as I'm in this middle road, all these there's been some other clubs, right, that have come in. I'm going to do these high-end clubs. I'm going to have a cold cloth, and I'm going to have this, and I'm going to do fancy this and fancy that and charge this. And they've, over the past 20 years, they've come and they've gone, because there's a big part of Buffalo that does have money, but they're savvy with their money, and they might want to try it, but they're not going to do it for a long time. They even people with money want a good product, but for still a good price. They're not
Yeah.
just going to blow just
Yeah.
to say, I'm spending $100 on a membership. That's not that's not who Buffalo people are, right? So, um, so we really started bringing ourselves back, and bringing some unique equipment in, that people were, chatting about. And so now here we are. And couple small little clubs will go out of business in Buffalo, and we will again try to form a relationship. I will bring your members over. I won't charge them. We'll give them a place for a couple months, see if they want to work out here. If they do, we'll give them a membership, but we'll help you with the transition. We'll give you some money for your member list. So always trying to, and that was one thing my husband always taught me is, you don't burn bridges. You try, sometimes you make a deal that's a little better for you. Sometimes you make a deal that's a little better for someone else, but you always try to really, always at the end of the day, you'll be a winner. You really will be. So we would always try to keep those relationships and do the right thing by people. So maybe they'll want to, help us so we can help them, right? This win-win.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, couple little clubs have closed in the meantime. Then, LA Fitness then strolls in
Yeah.
and says, "Hey, would you want to sell any of your clubs?" And we were like, "Why would we do that?
Good
Like
for
this
you.
this is what we're
I love
doing. Like
that.
this is who
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. I love that
Like,
mentality.
yeah, like what? No, we can't. We're not selling to you. Not even for, they're like, "Hey, here's some millions of dollars." Yeah, but I have so much passion for this industry. I have so much to give. I can't sell to you.
Yeah,
So
that's rare though, Amy. Like you probably know that, but like that, I'm serious. That's amazing because obviously you can tell you're super passionate about fitness. I'm sure your husband is too. Obviously, he has to be, and you guys are in it. Obviously, you want to create a great, life for yourselves and your family and your friends, and like you want to do something great for this community. But there's more to it. It's like this is like who you are. You live and breathe it, and I think that's rare these days. Like a lot of people would have been like, oh. LA Fitness or whatever private equity backed whatever wants to come in here and just like snatch us up. Perfect. I'm out of here. So hats off to you. I mean, it sounds like it wasn't even a tough decision for
it just, really wasn't because as we went back and forth, I just said no. And then my husband said, "Okay, well, just so you know, let's be ready because they're here now. They're going to come no matter what, one way or another." So they did. They 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 bought out most of the BACs, the co-ed BACs, and they left a couple of the women's facilities. So they shut down and then started with Benderson. Benderson was their landlord, and they just started coming fast and furious, and they put up 7 all over in Buffalo, big, beautiful pools, group acts, equipment, brand new. So now you're like,
yeah.
again,
Yeah.
like, oh shit. Um, so, and, at the time I was like, oh shit, the BAC, the owners were like, you know what? This is a good payout. We've been doing this a while. We're good. We'll keep the women's clubs. We're out. Um, and thinking, and I've said this to them years later. I said, you know what? You actually did us a favor because they were a tougher competitor for us than LA Fitness was because they were local, they know the Buffalo market, and they cared. They cared. You get LA, they come in, yes, they're big, they're fancy, and they're new. So yes, we lost people to them, but they also brought a lot of people off their couches into the working out world. So it wasn't a bad thing, right?
Yep. I get where you're
So
going. Yep.
they created awareness. So once though, when you open up a club, you're new for about a year and then you're old. Then you need to reinvest. And that's the difference of a lot of our competitors is if you don't continue to reinvest into your business in this industry, you are going to die a very slow death. And it's not going to be fun because you're just going to be stagnant and then just lower and lower and lower, right?
Yeah, like there's like a saying, like, you're climbing the mountain, and the second you stop climbing and you start sliding, you'll never regain your footing, and you'll just slide, 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 slide down.
Yep.
And I think that happens to most people because I mean, just listening to you tell this story, which is awesome, you can just tell like how much time, energy, blood, sweat, tears you and your husband have put into this and continue to put in this, and it never stops. And most people, even if they start down that journey, the second they realize like this never ends, like this never ends, like this going to go on and on, people give up. I think it's super impressive. I mean, because you could tell, you were talking earlier, you're juggling so much, you're juggling a lot now. Maybe it looks a little different, but like you're always thinking like, how do we reinvest? How do we make this better? Because you have to keep moving forward.
100%. Yes. Yeah. And it does. It looks different now than it did, but we're just, it looks a little differently, but it's still the same play. Still the same hard work, still the same play. Definitely the momentum and our foundation is stronger and better right now than it was. But I mean, with anything that from when you start to hear to get to here, oh my gosh. But then if you can get to here and then to here,
Yeah.
it does. It just kind of helps and helps and helps. But it's those initial like 25 years to getting, it's tough.
And no
Yeah.
one sees that, right? People just kind of like, everyone's, and it's not faulting anybody. People are just kind of like going along with their lives. They're not living, breathing like the big national competitors coming in and how do we adjust to this? And oh my gosh, we got to lower our prices. And then, I mean, we haven't even talked about it. I'd love to hear your take on, I mean, you guys started so long ago. I mean, talk about massive changes in like, we'll call it like gym culture or fitness culture. I mean, it is talk about a blow up. I mean, it's so different now. Like you're talking about the gold gym days where it's like bodybuilding and it looks way different. There's not a lot of women involved now. I mean, I'm a member at your gym and it's like everybody's working out and like the culture has changed so much and you guys have to adapt to that.
Oh, 100%. And it's so great to say now, I said that 20 men to went to one to two to four to five. Now we're sitting at 20 men to 16 women. I
Yeah, for
mean, it
sure.
is our percentages have jumped and the women have not only, they're starting younger, they're learning from school. They're learning from their gym teachers. They're learning from their coaches in college. They're learning how to work out. They're learning that being strong as a woman is sexy and you don't have to have huge muscles. You can be fit and hold your head high and mentally and physically be strong and fit for it doesn't matter what you look. I mean, you could be a size 0 to a size 20, but if you just are fit and feel good, there's so many, it looks different in so many different people and everybody, I say that everybody is different and you learn where you fit into the puzzle and it just all of it looks different, but it's so awesome because when I walk through these clubs every day and I hear these stories, days where I'm like, oh my gosh, like what's next? Like and I just have a day and I walk through and someone's, comes up and gives me knuckles or tells me something or that their medications are lower or they're feeling better, or whatever. I'm like, boom, my bucket's full again. It's full again and I'm ready to roll. It's awesome.
It's so true. I know that a lot of people, get intimidated about going to the gym or maybe they go, everyone, like you said, has a different fitness journey, but there's no question. Once people start going and you start slow and you kind of get into it more and more. I mean, yeah, everyone wants to, look better, but I think ultimately why? Because yeah, you're going to be healthier, but also you're going to feel a lot better. Like mentally,
Yes.
you'll have more confidence. You'll be more focused for work or to be more present with your family. You just have like more energy during the day and you could tell like you're just so passionate about it. How's your fitness journey? I mean, do you ever like have like rough weeks, rough months like other people, or are you pretty good about kind of staying at a higher level?
Well, so again, like I say to everybody is, I have a few sayings, and moderation is key. Um, I do not like the word diet. It's a very horrible word. I like the word lifestyle, right? Lifestyle is, it's workable, it's doable, right? Because if you move your body and you're eating somewhat decent, but then you want to go to dinner or you're on vacation, enjoy. You then come back, get back on, move your body, eat again, moderation. Not when you say constantly to yourself, no, no, can't have this, can't do that, can't do this. It's just, it gets so stressful. And then people are like, forget it. Forget it. Just not trying. So it's just a little bit, just being aware and having this basic, moderation lifestyle. And I've tried to stick with that, through everything. I've tried to show my kids, show my family, and just share any of my thoughts that I could help any, other people with the same stuff. As we age, our body changes. If you have babies, your body changes. If you're ill or something, you get sick, your body changes. And it's a constant guessing journey, and it's not about being perfect. That no one's perfect, right? It's just about staying in your lane and being the best version of yourself. Like,
Yeah,
don't beat yourself up if you're 5 pounds heavier, or you're this or you're that. I mean, come on. Are you happy? Are you healthy? Are you enjoying your family? Do you feel good? That's what's important, right? So, and a lot of people, they just
just happy.
they just get wrapped up, and then it just goes from one end to the other. So, um, but yeah, but it's just it's been a great journey, and I've learned a lot. I mean, even we can go into, then COVID happened, right? That was that was like a whole another shit show. I think all of us learned a little bit about how important fitness is for your mental well-being and for your body during COVID.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it was a terrible, terrible thing. And, when something's taken away from you, or your fitness journey, your fitness community, your support center, your like what, because people utilize fitness for so many reasons. And for anything. I mean, I fought a lot during that, and I made a lot of friends, and I made a lot of enemies. Um, but it was interesting because after all said and done, people came up to me and thanked me. And then people also came up to me and said, you are reckless. You're a terrible person. How could you put people in danger by wanting to come together? And, and I said, listen, I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but there are two sides. There's just like to anything, there's two sides to it. And I think I learned more about the other side that I didn't want to know about, and I had to agree with some things. But I also wanted people to understand how important this community is to the world, right? I mean, because the government and everyone just said, what do we need you for?
Yeah.
What are you like? You're done. So I just, on both sides, I hope that a lot of eyes were open to seeing some different things.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. I mean, look, like that was actually something I wanted to ask you about because, and I'm glad you actually brought up COVID because, yeah, it's like, there's so many layers to the importance of like that routine and going in and eating healthy and then being at the gym. And obviously the number one thing is like you're working out, you're moving, you're staying healthy, but there's that sense of community. And I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on, the Buffalo fitness community and, what you think about it, why it's so important to you.
the Buffalo fitness community is awesome because we have such a huge community of bodybuilders, power lifters, just group fitness people. There's, for Buffalo being a small space, the how far back it goes in the community, and I just, it really, there's a lot of options of studios and big clubs. um so we have our football world, and we have our chicken wing world, and we have our snowstorms, but we really have, a really good, our the people that live in Buffalo know fitness. They do. It looks different to everybody, but we really do have a great fitness community. And, I'm so blessed because as I continue to grow and I will bring some old school stuff back, I will pull some of those old people back that I can tell stories with and see, and then I can get new people in that give me their way of thinking, to say, hey, have you ever thought about this, or would you ever want to do this? Which is great. So I'm constantly learning from the fitness community all the time. Like
Yeah.
every day I'm learning something, which is great.
That's awesome.
So
I mean, I always say like curiosity is like, one of the best attributes somebody can have. Like, and it can manifest in a lot of different ways, but yeah, learning from old, learning from new, kind of blending it together. I mean, and just constantly trying to move forward and make yourself better, make the community and your business better. I think that's amazing. I have to ask you, I was like, oh, I got to ask her some funny questions. And the first thing I
okay.
thought about was because, well, I say that because I was so interested to hear about your journey. I'm so happy that you just walked us through that. Because like I said earlier, like, especially in this fitness community, I want people I think they're really going to have an even greater respect for you and your husband and what you've built, because it's never easy. It's really hard. And you guys have gone through a lot, and you've persisted, and you're here and you're at the top. And I think it's such a great story. But I was like, I got to ask her some more lighthearted questions. And the
All
first thing
right.
I thought about was, because I'm in the gym every morning, and I'm like, I wonder what Amy's biggest pet peeves are in the gym. Like, what are like the things that everybody who goes to the gym should make sure that they're doing, like the unwritten rules?
Oh, okay. So obviously, re-rack your weights.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
Yeah.
If you're strong enough to lift it, just put it back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the re-racking of the weights, um, you know, uh, from over your head, or the dumbbells, because they break. The stuff breaks, and then it's thousands of dollars to replace it. So honestly, though, I everyone is really mostly very respectful. Those are probably like my two, but if you really want to get funny, I'm going to tell you, one of my biggest things is in the men's locker room. Men love to shove random shit in the toilet. Why? Why? Just take a shit, put the toilet paper in, flush it. Why do you need a sock, a whole roll of toilet paper, a half of a shirt, um, you know, objects? Why? Why are you putting that in the toilet? That over anything is, I now can say I go from gym owner to, I have to, like, I'm a plumber.
Yeah.
I think I have to go get my plumbing license, because I have to snake toilets. I am constantly pulling shit out of toilets. I am, I'm not kidding you. I don't know what goes on. So there you go. That's
Pu-
more than anything. That is it.
yeah, you're also like, you're like plumber mom, like going into mom mode. Like, what the hell are you
Yes.
guys doing? So it's like,
What?
yeah, public service announcement to any Cattle Gym members listening, and we're gonna make
Yes.
sure a lot of you hear this. Like, just like maybe like treat the place with respect, like treat it like it's your house, and don't shove weird shit in the toilet. How about that,
That would be
guys
great.
specifically?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Um, so you've come all this way. you guys have built such an amazing business, a place where people can come, feel good about themselves, regardless of like kind of what kind of working out they're into, have this sense of community. But you sound like somebody who's never going to stop. You know, what do you think about the future? Like, where do you think you guys are going to go over the next maybe like 5 years?
So, I mean, I'm still looking for a building in the South Towns. I did not buy the building on transit. I bought the business of Jada Blitz, and because I liked the location, but I'm looking for a building over in that area so I can shut that down and move the members over to a new club. So that's kind of where what I'd like to do. I'm in the process of trying to put some plans together to remodel French Road because as I keep going back, I got to keep giving back and
Yeah,
remodeling
yeah, yeah.
existing clubs. Um, and my kids are now older. So I have my oldest who's married and living in Miami, and she does all my back end stuff for me.
That's awesome.
I have my middle one that is working in the clubs here, trying to learn to help my area director to be another area director. And then I have my other daughter who was working with Equinox and working with other clubs in Washington, Orlando. Now she's in New York doing equipment, square footage, layouts, because she's going to come back and she's going to be the one that's going to help us grow and go into Rochester, Syracuse, PA, like really like let's go, let's explode. So she's the beast that's going to help me do that. And then I got my son who wants to be a professional golfer, and he says he's gonna, marry a girl, and she's got to work in the gym too. So it's a whole community that I'm like, let's go.
I love it.
So
That's amazing.
our dinner table's like beast mode. Yeah.
Hey, well, look, I think it's really cool that your kids want to do that too, because I think usually more often, like the kids want nothing to do with the family business. And lots of times it's like, you're looking at these kids like, man, you sure you don't want anything to do with that? Like, you know what your parents have done? So, again, it's a testament to you and your husband that you got great kids who understand what you two have gone through and what you've built. And obviously I'm sure they get how lucky they are to be a part of that and to help you guys continue to grow it. So I got one last question for you. You could pick one person to work out with, dead or alive. Who would it be and why?
Oh boy. Hmm. 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 Honestly, I'd have to go Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I love it.
Why is just because he's a beast, right? I think that I'd get an old school workout. I would just, you know, the intensity, you'd have fun because I've watched every movie with him in it, and he's
Yeah.
always smiling, laughing, but then serious when he has to be. Um, and some of my best memories of when I first started working out, and I'd work out with my husband and all the guys, and we would just like, circuit through, and I'd get into my car and I would drive away and I'd have to almost pull over because I was nauseous. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be sick, but that was so awesome. Like, so
Yeah.
awesome.
Like
Right?
legs shaking, like
Yeah.
after like a hardcore. Yeah. You're just like, holy shit. And,
Yes.
but then, and it makes that like post workout meal so awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome. All right. That's a great answer. And I think I would probably give the same answer.
Right.
Arnold Schwarzenegger in his Mr. Olympia peak days. That's awesome.
Oh,
Well, look, I really appreciate you taking the time to be here. I mean, I know that people are going to love hearing this story, and excited to continue to watch you guys grow, and especially with the family members joining in. So thank you so much for being so open and honest. I appreciate it.
yeah, yeah, no problem. Anytime. This was great.
Thanks, Amy.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening to Angles. If this episode made you think, smile, or see something in a new way, Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a review and share it with friends. You can also follow us on social media. Angles is produced by Brett Tuttle. I'm John Richmond. See you next time.